field trip to Google Facebook. You were the first member, I think, with a Twitter wall. Tell us about your tweet wall.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we've got to go to where the people are. I mean, we've tried to be very aggressive in opening up the kinds of things that we're doing here and making them accessible to the people of the country. I mean, so much of what the people of the country see and feel that is coming out of Washington has, for the longest time, been controlled by others. What social media has done is enabled for people to actually assume some ownership, to control what it is, the kind of news they want, to be able to interject themselves in the debate on any certain issues.
So tell us what your tweet wall looks like.
Well, I mean, it's a Twitter wall that's a panel.
Is it in your waiting room?
Yeah, it's in the lobby, and all of us sort of in the central place where everyone has to walk by to get into the office. And I think it's just a clear reminder that everything we're doing should be ventilated with the public and the people that send us here. And we'll end up getting a better work product if we pay attention to the fact that we've got to engage the public. It is they who sent us here. And I just think that that's what social media, whether it's Twitter, it's Facebook, it's any of the platforms now online and on your belt or in your pocket that allow people to engage in a much more rapid fashion, for sure, and in a much fuller way. And the more we can do that, the more we can invite people in. I mean, we have this program called Citizens Co-Sponsor Project.
This is a Facebook.
That we just launched, and it was launched to be compatible with Facebook and other social media platforms where people can incorporate sort of what they like and the things that they're tracking in the legislative process into their homepage and into their profile page so that their friends can see what's going on, their friends can get the updates, and maybe it will spark some kind of interest that, hey, I can go in and I can sort of begin to figure out this as well and become an owner of the process too.
Now, what could Washington learn from Silicon Valley?
I think that, you know, one of the things that I was told when I went out there early on was in Silicon Valley, you wake up thinking globally. And I think that's, you know, that's kind of an interesting sort of adage because I think it means that we're out there competing every single day. And making sure that we are the first to innovate and that we can be the first to take those ideas and bring them to the markets. And so what I think we learn from that is that entrepreneurial drive, that commitment to make sure that we don't stymie innovation is what we learn from Silicon Valley. That really America's always served as a frontier to the world.
So very specifically, how could the House change its workflow or change its approach that would mirror those lessons?
Well, one of the things you mentioned is ventilate, open up for ideas. And that's why we have the Twitter wall. That's why you see so much activity in the Republican members of Congress online. And the more we can stay close to that exchange of ideas and the input from the people that put us there, the better the work product is here. But I think that, you know, one of the things we tried to do with the schedule in the House this term was to make sure that members are going home and living with the people that elect them and don't stay within the Beltway confines, under the dome, if you will, to think that all answers come from Washington, because they don't. This is a country that is unique in history, power derived from the people. We got to make sure that government is working for the people again and not the other way around.
Now, when you were at the Googleplex, you saw the driverless car. Tell us about the driverless car.
I mean, I rode in the driverless car, and
I guess you didn't drive it.
It is awesome. Yeah, it is.
Well, no, tell us what it is.
It is phenomenal. I mean, there is a Prius that they have now taken, and they put sort of seeing eyes of infrared and other cameras up on the roof and in the rear. And they have a laptop in the front seat, and they have put Google Maps onto the laptop and then images filling that out. So the car knows what you're passing by, whether it's trees, bushes, whatever. Also knows another car, a truck, a person walking across a crosswalk. So it senses where things are moving around it. and is utterly, yeah, I was speechless to see what was going on. Now, obviously, there was a driver in the seat in case something went wrong, and an easy shut-off switch, but it's truly amazing, and I think the goal that they've got is to make sure that those who are less fortunate, maybe wounded veterans or those who are handicapped, have the ability to get around. And imagine what you could do to provide mobility to people like that. And obviously they're going through a lot more testing and things like that.
And you've always been an Apple guy. You were one of the first offices on the Hill, maybe the first office that was totally a Mac environment.
Yeah, well, listen, I am all about this. I mean, because this is an unbelievable tool, you know, that we have before us. And the thing is, and I wanted to show you, I had my Politico open right there. So, but I will say we had a little technical difficulties with our Politico app the other day. So we needed to call you.
Fixed.
Yeah, it's fixed now. But the amazing thing is this app here, the Dropbox app. If anybody has not seen this, there's probably competing apps out there, but my office is really trying to go completely paperless. And so when we talk about preparation and staff is exchanging memos, et cetera, it is all done electronically now, all portable, so you're not lugging around any kind of prep books or anything like that, and information for meetings and the rest is all right here. It's phenomenal.
So your briefings come in through Dropbox?
All come through Dropbox.
And what other apps do you like?
Oh, I've got to say Politico app, you know, the Richmond Times Dispatch, as you know, is a favorite
Alma mater?
Absolutely. But you know, I've got tons of apps on here. Don't want to slight anybody, but we really do.
Now, do you play games?
We do. Do I play games? Well, that's
no. No. So you're not a Scrabble guy.
I've got Sudoku on here, and I've got some others. Yes.
Okay. Now, one of the reasons you went into real estate has to do with a theory about how people choose where they live, shop, sort of your own tipping point theory. Tell us about that.
You know, I really like people, and I guess if you're in the business of elected service, that you gotta like people, and you gotta want to find out about what drives them, what makes them choose their lifestyle, and what kind of outcomes they want. And so I got into real estate development after law school because I had a father who was a real estate lawyer and a developer, and family who was in that business. And what I saw is you have an ability to start from literally the ground up. And when you plan a project, and my family was in land development, and so when you start a neighborhood, a subdivision, you begin to think about what people will see and do every day, driving through the streets of that neighborhood, turning out on the main thoroughfare. What kind of conveniences are around them? What kind of shopping is available? What kind of entertainment? What kind of services do they need? And it really is about patterns of life.
And tell us how that applies to shopping. Give us an example, because this is interesting.
How it applies to shopping?
Yeah, when you talk about patterns of life.
I mean, you know, again, you want, if you think about it, I was just recently in Florida and was on an island where people live and was wondering how in the world do they go shopping? How do they go get a carton of milk? Or if their child is sick, how do they go get some medicine very quickly, you know, without having to go off the island? I was told later that there was actually some stores on the island that I didn't see, but you know, it's that kind of thing. It's what are the necessities of life? What are the elements that families require to support their existence? You know, I know from being a parent, when your child has a homework assignment due and all of a sudden they forgot to tell you something they need to bring to school the next day. You know, thank goodness there's a Walmart down the street that's open 24 hours that you can go and access what you need. But it's that kind of everyday need that really, I think, forms the basis of support in a community. And it's not just school supplies, but it's, you know, what kind of healthcare services are available when you have a retirement community that you may be involved in building, or you have what would they be interested in? Well, they're certainly interested in healthcare facilities, and they're interested in making sure that a hospital is nearby and those kind of services. So as a real estate developer and somebody in that business, it starts with community, and it starts with people, and trying to understand in a market way what the market will demand and what will make your project successful.
We're about to get the hook real quick. What's a book that's on there, or what's a book that you think we should read?
Well, I'm reading right now Boomerang by Michael Lewis, which is the story of sort of the sequel, I guess, if you will, to The Big Short that he wrote.
So this is Greece, California.
Yeah, and Iceland and the rest. So fascinating, and obviously trying to learn from that experience so we don't step into even more of that here.
Okay, and music that's on there, Red Hot Chili Peppers, I believed. Rap, I didn't.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you know, you have little Jay-Z and Young Jeezy and Wiz Khalifa and the rest on there. Obviously, the lyrics are horrendous, and we try and have the cleanup version. But you know, you live with teenagers, you sort of have to understand what they're about and try and correct their direction sometimes. So.
Okay. And last question, I've seen you playing golf with Mikey, who's now, I guess we have to call him Michael because he got into UVA.
He still wants to be called Mikey. So.
Just got in, congratulations. Now, you just got one out of UVA.
I've got one going out of UVA, graduating from the McIntire School of Commerce this year. What's Evan going to do? He is heading to New York and going to work up there in the financial services industry. You know, much like his mother, my wife's always had a terrific quantitative head as a CPA, MBA, JD, and so he's probably following in her footsteps, and I'm very proud of him. He gets terrific grades. And you also have a daughter at University of Michigan? Daughter at University of Michigan is finishing up her sophomore year, I think, next year. And then I do have this youngest who's 17, just was alerted of his acceptance in the UVA. So next year, save for my mother-in-law, will be empty nesters. And in 2 months, you'll be 49, and you're a young gun. That gives hope to all of us. So. Exactly. Leader Cantor, thanks for a great conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.